Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh and Ramadan Kareem. The Imam Hussein charity will be running its food basket campaign again this year, giving you the opportunity to help destitute and impoverished families throughout the whole of Iraq and Afghanistan. Each food basket contains essentials such as rice, flour, dried lemons, tea, fruits and vegetables, oil, tomato paste, dates, and much more. Each basket is £25 and can feed a family of 4 for up to 10 days. You can feed a family of 4 for the whole of Ramadan for only £75. You can donate via bank transfer, PayPal, or visit us at www.imamhusseincharity.com.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Get the queries off your chest with Ahkam SOS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show. We're taking your questions. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask in regards to any part of Islamic law, send it via the WhatsApp, the email address. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, the technical team will be able to forward them to myself. If you'd like to call into the studio live, 0203 515 0199. We'd love to hear your voice, and inshallah, we'll be able to answer all your queries. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Marsh. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you doing this evening?
Alhamdulillah.
How's your fast going?
Khair, inshallah, maqbool al-ta'at.
MashaAllah, minkum, inshallah, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, every episode we go through a little dua, and we go through the shar of dua before the questions. So I'd like you to hand it over to you, Sheikhna, and inshallah we'll be able to discuss today's dua, inshallah. Tafadhal, bismillah.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. There's a short dua recited every night of the month Ramadan, especially after dua al-iftitah, which says أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان أو يطلع الفجر من ليلتي هذه ولك قبل تبعة أو ذنب تعذبني عليه. I seek the protection of the majesty of your honorable face. And of course, when we say the face of Allah, it's not actually embodied.
The physical face, yeah.
Yeah, metaphoric and so forth. Muhkam mutashabah we have. Against that, the month of Ramadan elapses. In other words, before the end of Ramadan, or the holy month of Ramadan. Or dawn puts an end to this night, before the end of tonight's night, in which we seek and we ask Allah for this haja. But there is still an offense or a sin for which I am still liable and for which you will punish me on. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal in this short dua every night to forgive our sins and shortfalls and faults before the dawn of the next day of the month of Ramadan, and even before the end of this holy month as a whole. That's the objective of this holy month. We fast, we get near to Allah Azza wa Jal, we beg Him, we invoke Him, we ask Allah's forgiveness in order to forgive our sins. This is the only opportunity we have, at least in this holy month. Yes, other months we have opportunity, definitely, Allah Arhamar Rahimeen, but this holy month is unique, is exceptional, in which the sins will be erased easier or quicker, and anyhow. There's a closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal with us, in terms of that we are in Diyafatullah Azza wa Jal. We are we're sitting on Allah's Azza wa Jal's blessings, rizq, and sufra, this ma'idah, this sufra, this banquet that Allah has spread, that we try to seek as much as we can, and ask for Allah Azza wa Jal's forgiveness in this holy month. This is the main opportunity in this holy month. We try to gain that, the forgiveness before the end of the of this night, or even before the end of the holy month of Ramadan, inshallah.
Inshallah. Ahsan, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, let's go through some questions from yesterday which we didn't manage to go through. Would a nose bleed break your fast?
Not at all. It wouldn't break. You just have to wash it, for purity, for the salah, and for the wudu and so forth.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the difference between penalties of kafara and fidya? That was from yesterday as well.
Explained before that penalty is when you intentionally break your fast. So there's a disobedience. Fidya is for the one who is basically unable to fast for whatever reason, for being an old man, or let's say pregnant woman, for example. They can't fast. Then of course they pay fidya because of not being able to fast on that day due to this illness or situation.
From yesterday's WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. I asked my family about our original origins. My uncle said that our ancestors emigrated from Morocco to Lebanon and that they are descendants of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Is there any way to prove this claim?
You have to have a family tree with this regard. The Saudi usually they have family tree that they can prove to those who are experts in this field that we are Sayyids. Otherwise, you have to investigate and find out. It's not easy to claim that you're a Sayyid.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you have the means to do so.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. How does one person ghusl in a shower? I guess perform ghusl in a shower. Let's go through it quickly, Sheikh. Niyyah, wash the head, ears, face, around the nose, mouth, everything, back of neck, around the neck. Right side, front, back, front leg, back of leg. Left side, front, arm, back, front of the left leg, back of the left leg.
Exactly, yes.
And that's it, in the feet and in between the toes and everything. Make sure all water reaches all parts of the body. Inshallah, you are tahir. From WhatsApp, for yesterday's WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum. Is there any advantage of a newborn in the month of Ramadan? So having a newborn baby in the month of Ramadan.
I haven't read anything, to be honest.
Imam Hassan alayhi salam was born in Ramadan.
It's a blessed month, basically. If there's a newborn baby, of course, it's a blessed month. Ala kulli hal. We have unique months. We have Ashur al-Hurum. We have the holy month of Ramadan, Sha'ban. So these are unique months compared to other months.
Good question here, Sheikh, from yesterday. Is it haram to make money of the works of Ahlul Bayt? So for example, works can be anything. Maybe like Najr al-Balagha, to print it out and sell copies and so forth. The Maktal, maybe famous pictures, paintings of the shrines and so forth. So, making products out of the knowledge of the Ahlul Bayt and Muslim and Islamic ornaments and so forth to sell and make profit. Is this acceptable in Islam?
As I've said before, that these are fields in which one is able to gain money in how, let's say, as I've said before, speakers, lecturers, for example, Hawza teachers, yes, when they teach, they all have some kind of income because they have basically spent all their time and efforts in this field, so they have to make some kind of a living. They let's say rent to pay, expenses, and so forth. So yes, the one can gain, but what is important that the one should do this for the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal. So he would have a sincere intention that I do for the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal, and of course receive that amount of money in which I have been spending, let's say 9 to 5 every day, 6 days a week, for example. So yes, one can earn such money, but as I've said, make sure that the intention is pure and not just for seeking money. Otherwise you can go to the market and be a businessman or work in a company, for example. So yeah, let's have the intentions pure, and that inshallah would also the one would gain the rewards of this act, and of course the income as well.
Inshallah, ahsant. Just a quick reminder to all of you is that this is a live show, and if you want to send in your questions, send it in via the WhatsApp, the email address. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, put your questions in the comment section. Or alternatively, give us a call 0203 515 0199. Inshallah, I'll be able to answer your call, and inshallah, Sheikh will be able to answer your question. Sheikh, from WhatsApp today, why is the Holy Quran in 30 juz? I think it means juz. Why not 40 or less? What is the significance of the number 30? As far as I know, the Holy Quran has 6,327 ayat. Does it mean that each juz has 210 ayah?
This is how it's been formed and compiled from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and onwards. So we follow as it is, as it was revealed on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and as it is now. We don't want to change anything. We don't want to. I mean, the reason I don't know, to be honest. I'm not. Allah Azza wa Jalla is wise. He knows why He didn't add another 40 juz, extra juz on the Holy Quran. Allah is Hakim. He knows that this Quran would suffice, would be enough for the humanity. Of course, we need those who have the knowledge of the Quran, علم الكتاب, ومن عنده علم الكتاب, to come and to give the tafsir and the meanings of these verses, and of course they are Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
I was also told, Sheikh, that it's in 30 juz for 30 days, so you can complete a whole Quran in 1 month, so you know how much to read per day. Assalamu alaikum from WhatsApp. I remember that I read few sentences of Ahkam in Bahrul Anwar. It says, do not wear black and do not wear pointed shoes because they are belonging to the Pharaoh. So why last night did Maulana say wear black cloth, which would be suitable for ladies? Also, I noticed few men wearing pointed shoes.
You see, initially we have exceptions in terms of wearing black, especially for the Maulanas and for the Mashayikh and the Sada, that they can wear black abaya, cloak. Amama to be black for the Sada, that's fine. There's no issue with it. And for the socks, I think, to be black, that's fine. These are exceptions. Other than that, the discouragement or the makruh is in the salah, that you are black and you pray in the salah. Okay. If there's a karaha with this regard. That's for the men. For the sisters, for the ladies, that is the outside hijab. The chador or the abaya or the mantu in which they wear outside to protect themselves. And they have to use a color in which it doesn't attract. And the best color is black. And the ulama, they have no issue with it in terms of the ladies wearing black as hijab. That should be fine. Because the colorful would attract them somehow. So wearing for the sisters the black color is on the safe side in terms of less attraction.
Inshallah. Hopefully there's a caller on the line, and hopefully inshallah we'll be able to get through to them. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ahkam SOS, brother. Your question for the Sheikh, please.
Okay, so my question is about Khums. My Khums date is soon coming up in the month of Ramadan.
Okay.
I've got some new things for my new house which I'm not moving after my Khums dates. So I've got some new furniture and beds and everything in January. Okay. And my Khums date is after a couple of weeks. I'm not moving into the new house in this month, so I'll be moving in with the new things after the Khums date. And the new things are unused. So do I have to pay the Khums on the new things which are unused? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, brother. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your mal in this holy month. Thank you very much. Sheikh,
Thank you very much.
Excellent question there, Sheikh. Brother has bought some furniture to move into a new house, but he's going to move in after his Khums date. So he's got new furniture, beds and probably curtains and bed sheets and so forth. Are those items liable to pay Khums on because they haven't been used yet?
You see, anything that is not being used for the past whole duration of the year of the income in which the one receives his income and he spends them, if anything that is bought unused, for example, money cash in hand or in the bank in the savings, they haven't used, any surplus, any excess amount which is not used, it requires khumus to be paid on.
Okay.
So, I mean, even if you have gifts, unused gifts, let's say you have a brand new pair of shoes, brand new shoes, and you haven't opened it to use it, for example, the box, you haven't used that shoes, for example, or clothing and so forth, and the khums year comes, well, you have to pay khums on it because you haven't used it, and these assets and items became an excess and surplus. In other words, you were not in need of these items during the year, current year, and now you have the first, the annual khums day approaching. You haven't used them, then you have to pay khums on these items.
So what about like decorations and stuff like that? Sometimes people, they'll buy decorations. Muharram, for example, we buy qut'a, we buy alams and so forth, and we don't use it for the whole year. And then when Muharram comes, we bring it out. Would you have to pay khums on that?
Have you used it before?
No. Let's say I haven't. Let's say I bought these in Sha'ban. I went to Iran or something, and I bought them for Muharram, and my khums date is in Ramadan.
You see, anything, as I've said, anything you haven't used and they're surplus and you haven't paid khums on, they become liable to khumus. You haven't used them. This means that you have extra items or extra
surplus.
Assets in which you are not using. You haven't used for the past year, in which it means that you have surplus which you don't really need currently to spend on yourself. In this case, you have to pay khums on. Otherwise, if you use them now, there's no issue with it.
I see. Excellent. Thank you, Sheikh. More questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum. They say before we are born to this world, they ask us if we want to be in. As far as I know, I could not remember such a question. And anyhow, if I do not want to be in this forced examination by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what do I need to do? Does it mean I will go to hell?
What we have before this world, alam dunya, we have alam al-dhar. Before our creation in this world, or bring us into this world of dunya, alam al-dhar, Allah Azza wa Jal gathered us in a location, in a tiny, let's say, entities, and He, as the Holy Quran mentions, that Alastu birabbikum qalu bala, that He asked us, am I not your Lord? We all said bala. We all affirmed that He is our Lord. So that is actually what happened in Alam al-Dar, that we have called out that bala, you are our Lord. And then we were brought to this dunya to take tests and to see if we are good believers or not. Imma shakiran or imma kafura.
Sheikhna, a very, very detailed and interesting question here, Sheikhna. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My wife's family is making her go with them to a pool place this weekend. It's private and there are no non-mahram present. And women are there submerging their head in water whilst fasting is haram. And women can't submerge their bodies in water while fasting because the water goes in them. But her family are extreme anti-Islam who hate the religion. And her and I are scared they might hurt her or do something to her because she won't swim with them due to fasting. Her family only just starting allowing her to pray salah, and we don't want them to take it away from her. Should she use taqiyya for the day she's there? If so, will she still have to fast 2 months as recompense? What should she do? Okay, first of all, Sheikhna, if you go into a swimming pool and there's water around you, does that break your fast? Does the water actually go into your body or anything like that?
I just said 1 or 2 days before that the one can go inside the water up to their neck and even part of their head, but not the full head.
Okay, the head cannot go underwater.
I mean, she can go inside the water up to her neck, for example, slowly, and then come out. That should be fine.
Okay.
She's not allowed to put her entire head inside the water.
Okay. And what if accidentally, something happens or?
Accidentally, we said it's fine.
It's okay. You can carry on. So
Accidentally,
if someone pushes her head, in the
we said
water,
it's fine.
It's okay.
It's not an issue. Yeah.
We pray for this couple here because when it's your own family stopping you practicing your religion, it can be really, really difficult. May Allah grant them
I mean,
sabr.
unless she goes back to her marja to see who she's following now,
Yeah.
there might be a marja who would not consider immersing one's head inside the water would be
Okay.
mubtal. I think there's one marja, I think.
Okay.
One should go back to the marja and
No
ask.
problem.
That's the best
No
solution.
problem.
Just in case.
Let's go for some YouTube questions. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Can one buy and sell the tasbih from turab from the grave of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? Thank you.
You see, selling this, is it khak shifan and so forth?
Yeah, it's made from the khak of Karbala.
Yeah, I mean, we have many shops in Karbala now, they're selling muhr and tasbih.
And khak as well.
Yeah, I mean,
the powder form, yeah.
Even the Holy Quran has been sold. But they say when you sell them, not with the intention of selling the verses.
The item.
Yeah, but
It's the label that
it's
went
the actual,
behind
the
it.
label outside, for example, the handwork and
Yeah,
and so
the
forth.
actual hard work that went behind it to make it. That's what you're paying for, not the actual turab or so forth. So it's okay for the tasbih to purchase?
Yeah, I mean, we're buying and seeing people selling
all
tasbih
over
and
Najaf and
turban.
Karbala, they're being
Yes,
sold
please.
left, right and center. So again from YouTube, Sheikhna, if Islam is the one true faith, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow this confusion, bloodshed and strife? Why would the perfect religion slaughter each other for 1400 years when Christian sects get along?
The Quran is very clear with this regard. لِيَهْلَكَ مَنْ هَلَكَ عَنْ بَيِّنَهِ وَيَحْيَى مَنْ حَيَّ عَنْ بَيِّنَهِ. It's all to do with that there is evidence, there's a proof of Allah Azza wa Jal. He sent 124,000 prophets with their vicegerents to see who is thankful and who is not thankful, who rejects Allah's messages and guidelines. We are in a great examination room called dunya, and we are giving tests, taking tests in order to see if we pass the bridge of the Sirat on the Day of Judgment or not, based on our amal. So we have to make sure that we choose the right path, the correct deeds are performed, and obey Allah Azza wa Jal, and avoid disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. It's very clear. Quran is very clear, the Hadith are very clear. قولوا لا إله إلا الله تفلحوا. The first call of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for Ahl Makkah when he began to spread Islam, say La ilaha illallah and you will win, you will be successful. That's the whole idea, that we follow the right path. We worship the true and only Allah Azza wa Jal, no other participants or no other entities will be worshipped with Allah Azza wa Jal. It's only Allah Azza wa Jal. So in this world, we try to, we are in, as I said, examination room to see if we pass or fail, na'udhu billah. It's all up to us. We have the free will to make this choice. To be Hitler, na'udhu billah, like Hitler. Or to be like one of the Salihin, Salman Abu Dhar, radiyallahu alayhim. So it's all up to us to make the decision.
Inshallah. Sheikhna, a question here from WhatsApp. If in the month of Ramadan a fasting man has marital intercourse with his wife who is also fasting, and if he compels her to that and she had not consented to that, who is obliged to pay the kafara?
Basically because the husband compelled his wife to the intercourse in the daytime of the month of Ramadan while fasting, and she was compelled by the husband, then both kafara, which is on behalf of him and his wife, should be paid by the husband. Otherwise, each pays separately, if they are all both agreed and consented. Yes.
Sheikhna, we're going to go to a short break now, inshallah. Join us after the break as we continue our discussion here on Ahkam SOS. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars
permissible
at
to
home.
plant trees by or
Was
over
Islam
the graves?
established based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted
individuals?
to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, call in on +44 2035 150199 or WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155. Alternatively, you can also email us on ahkamsos@imamhussein.tv.
Yes, you can send in your questions via the WhatsApp, the email address. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section. Or why don't you give us a call, 0203 515 0199. And I do believe we have a caller on the line right now, so inshallah we're going to go straight to there. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Brother, I hope you're having a very, very blessed Ramadan. You're live on Ahkam SOS. Your question, please, to the Sheikh.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyid. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I have a question.
Go ahead.
So right now I'm cooking for my colleagues and family and friends.
Okay.
And I want to make sure the food tastes alright. Am I allowed to taste the food to make sure the salt or the spices are all good?
Excellent question. Thank you very much, brother. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your deeds on this holy month. And inshallah, your food will come out tasting amazing, inshallah. Sheikhna,
thank you.
The brother there, he's cooking some food. Is he allowed to taste the food in order to check, the salt is right or the spices are correct, or if it's missing any ingredients or so forth?
Tasting is allowed as long as it doesn't reach the throat. That's very important. So taste and then spit it out, just to make sure that it's not really salty or too sour and so forth.
Okay, there you go, brother. Just in your mouth, quick taste, spit it out, and rinse your mouth. Inshallah, everything will be fine. Inshallah, the food will be tasting amazing. Sheikhna, if someone who is performing the qadha fast of a month of Ramadan deliberately commits an act to invalidate his fast in the afternoon, what should he or she do?
Yes, one who breaks his fast, qadha fast, in the afternoon, one should give 10 miskin, 10 paupers, to feed them, as said before, or to pay, for the amount of, let's say, wheat, barley, and so forth. If they can't afford to basically to feed 10 individuals who are poor, masakin, then they have to fast 3 days as a substitute to not being able to pay that amount.
I see. Questions coming in, loads from YouTube, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, is it a problem for unqualified people to read Shia Hadith books like Man La Yadrul Al-Faqih and Al-Istibsar?
Reading in overall is good, such as the Hadith books and so forth. But trying to come up with a conclusion, with an analysis from your own bottom of your heart against what the ulama said, that's problematic. That's an issue. So try to understand, to learn, not to give your comments.
Yeah, there's other things that they have to take in place which they haven't learned, especially when it comes to usul al-fiqh. If you haven't studied usul al-fiqh, then reading hadith is you're not allowed to really indulge in it or come up with your own fatwa. Sheikhna from YouTube again, can I buy animals that do not benefit me, such as snakes and spiders? As pets, I guess.
As pets, what is mentioned is the najis animals are not allowed to be brought at home as pets, such as dog and so forth.
What about a tarantula? That's not really najis, is it?
Sorry?
A spider, ankabut. Sometimes they keep the big, specific species in the glass.
The issue is with the possibly wild animals, the beasts, for example, and the najis animals, because the wild animals are dangerous in terms of keeping them at home. But the main thing is about the najis animals, such as the dog and the pig. The one should avoid if there's no reason for their, and especially the dog, for example, unless it's for security, for example, farm, a shepherd, and so forth.
Speaking on animals, Sheikhna, salam, can one kill a spider that enters the house? Thank you very much.
If that is harmful, then why not? Yeah.
In this country, we don't have harmful spiders. They're all poisonous. I mean, they don't have poison. They don't even have fangs, to be honest. They're not going to bite or anything. These normal house spiders. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What is the ruling on poems like Latmiyat on Ramadan? As I remember reading on the hadith in Milad al-Akhyar about the poems are forbidden in the month of the holy month of Ramadan.
We don't have such a thing that is forbidden to recite Noha or Latmiya or Nasheed for Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. All around the year we recite, the Noha, the Nasheed, the Musibah, the poetry, on the day of Ashura as well. There's Latmiya on the day of Ashura, on the eve of Ashura. There's a Latmiya the qasida is recited, the poetry is recited on the day of Ashura as well. There's no issue with it.
Excellent. More questions coming in, Sheikhna. From YouTube. Salam, Sheikh. If a person forgets to say Iqama after reciting Adhan and starts the prayer, and I'm getting more questions. Hold on, bear with me while I find this one. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, where's it gone? I do apologize. There we are. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. If a person forgets to say Iqama after reciting Adhan and starts his prayer not in the masjid, will he be given the reward for it?
We have إنما الأعمال بالنيات, of course. Allah Azza wa Jal is generous and Kareem. So you made the intention, you forgot. Allah Azza wa Jal is Kareem, indeed.
Right, questions coming on from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum. Is it recommended to pray 1,000 rak'ah salah during the holy month of Ramadan? How do we split it?
We have 100 rak'ah, I think, just around the nights of Qadr. Yeah, 100 rak'ah in one or two nights. I'm not sure which nights exactly. So for the 1,000 rak'ah, I haven't heard, to be honest, for the whole month. Each night of the month of Ramadan, if you open the dua books such as Fatih Janan, it will tell you that tonight there's, let's say, 4 rak'ah, and this is how you recite. Tomorrow is 6 rak'ah, and so forth. 8 rak'ah you have. So, but when it reaches the nights of Qadr, there's 100 rak'ah salah in one of these nights, or couple of nights. But I haven't heard about 1,000 rak'ah for the whole month.
Wow. Well, technically, if you do 10 days of 100 rak'ah, that's 1,000, I guess. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, why do maharaja use ilmi rijal when no hadith back it up, but instead it backs up not using ilmi rijal? Example, not rejecting hadith from fasiqeen.
I think we've answered this 1 or 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
That you have lots of hadith that came into the books of the hadith which were weak or even false in terms of the narrator, or the one of those who narrated was somebody who was not a trusty individual, who tried to make up hadith, ascribe hadith on the tongue of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hadith, for example. So that needs to be some kind of filtration. So ilm rijal is some kind of filtration of individuals, of narrators, to see who is truthful and who is liar.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Oh, really good question here. If my daughter turns 9 tomorrow, would she need to start fasting for the previous days of the month of Ramadan, or can she just do the wajib fast from tomorrow onwards?
The ulama say ikmal at-tasi', so finishing the 9 years old and entering the 10th year. So it depends, I don't know how they calculate the days.
Let's say she's turning 10 then.
Yeah.
And let's say it's mid-Ramadan.
It becomes wajib.
The following day? What about the previous fast?
Even for the boys, by the sahar, if they became baligh, let's say he had a wet dream, next day he must start fasting. So yes, that's bulugh. It doesn't matter when and what time or how. They have to start next day the siyam and salah as well, wajib. But always try to train your kids, your children, to fast a couple of years before the actual wajib before the bulugh and puberty age. Train them. And I know many people, they make their kids to fast. No, they don't force them, but the kids, they fast from the age of 9, 10 for the boys, and even the girls 7, 8. They like to fast. They like to be with their parents on the iftar time.
I see. More questions coming in, Sheikhna, from the WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum. I missed a few days of fasting due to allergies and I had to take prescription medicines. How do I make it up?
After the holy month of Ramadan, basically, you just make them up. As simple as that. And if you can do them in the winter time, that would be great. Shorten days and longer nights.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. I have to travel outside my city for work, which is more than 1 farsakh once a week. In a year, I make 45 to 50 trips. Do I shorten my prayer or pray full? What are the rules on the fasting? This since I leave my residence after Dhuhr. I am a muqallid of Ayatollah Sistani. Jazakallah khair.
Yes, Ayatollah Sistani has in detail description of the musafir, Hakum musafir, very detailed. The one should go back to his Risala Amaliyah or the website to check exactly how the Sayyid has categorized the musafir, how many days a month, for example, at least. But usually there are 10 days a month. If they travel, then they become musafir. Not once a month or twice a month. It has to be an amount of days, which are at least 10, I think. So Sistan has a bit of difference in terms of if it's 8 days, then would he be a musafir? Then you have to pray both taqasur and the tamam. So as I've said, the Sayyid has in detail with this regard. One should refer back to his Risala Amaliyah or his website for more details. Anyhow, if you are kathir al-safar, frequent traveler, of course you have to complete your salah and to fast both places.
Inshallah. Sheikhna, I broke my relationship with a friend who was becoming extremely anti-Islamic, and when I tried to guide him, he kept his heart blind. Did I do the right by ignoring him forever? Because now he could get a worse image of Muslims. That's from YouTube.
Of course, we've been advised by the Holy Quran, وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي أَحْسَنَ, to talk to them, to have a dialogue in which is the best, in the best form. If they are stubborn and showing their enmity against Islam, animosity against Islam, then one should ignore them and leave them. That's the best solution, at the very end result.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum Sheikhna. In the opinion of His Eminence the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi, Hafadullah, is first cousin marriage makruh in his opinion? So marrying your first cousin, meaning your father's daughter, or your father's daughter, your father's brother's daughter, or your father's sister's daughter, like that.
I haven't heard anything from the Sayyid or from his fatwa. I haven't seen anything like that. And over the marriage, I've seen people marrying their cousins. That should be no problem with it.
Sheikh, can I use lip balm while fasting? Now lip balm is like Vaseline they put on the lips to stop dry lips and so forth.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't reach the throat, that should be fine.
Okay, yeah. Fantastic. Assalamu alaikum Sheikhna. I have a non-Muslim friend who would like to read the Quran. Should they do some form of wudu or ghusl before opening the holy book? That's from YouTube.
Basically, if they have the intention of being somehow guided, you want to guide them somehow, they are lenient with the Muslims, with the Islam, yes, you can give them. But there's no wudu because, if they are non-Muslim, how can they have the wudu when they don't believe in the Tawheed Allah Azza wa Jal, or at least the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So for guiding them, you can give them the Quran to read, to reflect on the verses. But the wudu, how can a non-Muslim do a wudu when they are not believing individuals?
Sheikhna, salam, this is from YouTube. Should we point our finger when reciting Ziyarah of the 12th Imam alayhi salam?
The Ziyarah, it depends. You have to see, because some of these Ziyarats, they have narrations. That, let's say in Kitab Kamil Ziyarat by the Qulaway, he mentions in some of those narrations that point to the Imam or stand before the Imam's grave and say these words and so forth. So I haven't seen that with your finger to point towards the Imam in these narrations. I think the only place I've seen is in the dua of the Rajab, Ya man arjuhu li kulli khair wa aman sakhtahu min kulli shar. And then at the end of the dua you say, Ya dhal jalal wal ikram, Ya dhal na'ama wal jud, Ya dhal man tul harrim shaybati ala an-nar. You would point with your finger and you put your hand on your bed. Other than that, we have to see the narrations basically. If they say you can point, then point. Otherwise, you just stand for the Ziyarah and respectfully do the Ziyarah and carry on.
From YouTube again, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is the extra thawab for praying at every individual adhan rather than praying the prayers together? I'm assuming praying 5 separately rather than joining Dhuhr, Asr, and Maghrib, Isha together.
As I've said before, joining them is better than separately, unless you sit down between each session and do dhikr. So from Dhuhr adhan, salah, till Asr salah, you want to pray at least 2 hours in difference, isn't it?
Maybe even 3 or 4, depending on what season
That's the
it is.
thing. I mean, you have to sit down.
I mean, we've discussed
dhikr.
this, and you were saying that if you want to pray them separately after Dhuhr, you have to stay on your sajada or your janamaz, masalla, and you have to do dhikr and tasbih
until the Asr adhan.
Until the Asr adhan comes, pray the Asr adhan, and then you get up and go, which is sometimes, not really
but that's not wajib.
feasible.
You can't separate them, but why should we separate when the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he joined them in his lifetime in Medina without any, as I've said, reason, because even as mentioned, Ahlul Sunnah, they have this narration that he actually joined them without any reason, rain or travel and so forth.
Yeah. Next question from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible to have a mixed boys and girls WhatsApp group made for coordinating religious events? I guess a lot of religious organizations have this when, they're organizing things and so forth. It could be like an event or something like that where boys and girls will be there, especially volunteers and things like that. Is it okay to have a WhatsApp group like this?
If one can guarantee that there's no haram will be involved, chats
so
here and there.
I'm sure there's an invigilator.
I mean, you have to make sure there's no haram involved. Otherwise,
keep it professional.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Does getting vaccinated break your fast while fasting?
No.
Fantastic. Injections are okay. What about if they're like minerals and vitamins and things like that?
It's better to avoid, but there are
medicinal. Okay.
Better to avoid it, but it's allowed. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. If at the masjid the Imam is leading Maghrib and I believe he is unqualified, am I allowed to still stand in the congregation and pray with a quiet voice by myself to not offend anyone? So to pray farada.
Yeah, to pray behind an Imam of Jama'ah that you don't know, you have to establish the adala of this individual. You can't just walk to any mosque and Allah Akbar pray behind anyone. You have to establish ihraz al-adala. That's important. Yes, in this case, quietly in a corner. As I've said before, you either pray before they start prayer. By the time of the adhan, you pray quickly, or after they finish. In anyhow, if it doesn't, breaches the sanctity of the jama'ah of the mosque, you can pray. Yes.
I see. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to recite surah, dua, or tasbih translation instead of Arabic in salah? If yes, then is it permissible in both wajib and mustahab salah?
So tasbih and...
Is it permissible to recite surah, dua, and tasbih translation instead of Arabic in salah?
No, in salah you have to recite in Arabic.
Even mustahab
you have to recite in Arabic. There is something mentioned about the qunut that you can mention other languages, yes. But the wajib, you must say it in Arabic.
I see. More questions coming in. Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible for a tradesperson, contractor, to work on a place which will be serving alcohol? For example, a restaurant which will have a bar to serve alcohol. Would it be permissible to do the plumbing or general building for a place like this, knowing that they will serve alcohol here? Will the money earned from this work be halal? Sheikh, there's a difference between making a shop, restaurant, and building a pub. These people are contractors. They come either to build or to sort out the plumbing or to do other works and so forth. It doesn't really involve selling alcohol, but there will be alcohol served or sold in these establishments. Is it halal for them to work in these to build these things, and is that the money that they receive, is it halal?
I mean, you see, because they are actually working in the construction part of the building. In overall, if it's not i'ana al ithim, supporting and helping on the sin, establishing sin, there's no i'ana, such a thing, it should be fine.
Okay.
But if it's i'ana على الإثم, as the Holy Quran mentions with this,
So if you're
the
doing
meaning.
plumbing on the actual barrels that serve the beer, rather than in the toilet or in the kitchen.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Ah,
That's the problem.
I
You're
see.
actually supporting them to, let's say, build the pipes
Yeah.
that leads to the barrel, and they can actually, drink the alcohol through these barrels, for example. If there's i'ana على الإثم, is an issue. One should avoid it. For example, somebody takes flyers, leaflets, only for this bar, for example, with alcohol. That's i'ana على الإثم. I'm promoting this bar with those drinks by, giving people, for example, flyers and leaflets. That's i'ana على الإثم. So I'm helping them to come to this bar and drink, for example.
Sheikh, our final question before we end the show. Assalamu alaikum. Why do maharaja wear those type of turbans without the cloth hanging down when our hadith prohibit that and say we should wear the turban with the cloth hanging down from it? So the the hanging over and so forth, we have hadith that state it. Some even say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to have a Hanukkah and so forth. So why are our scholars not using the Hanukkah?
They use it when they want to pray salah, for example. They would use the Hanukkah. But in overall, there's also a narration with regards to wearing the amama as it is now.
Ah, okay.
Yes, so both are mentioned.
I see. Ahsan. Sheikh, final thoughts before we end the show?
Inshallah, we try in these nights to remember our loved ones, the deceased, our fathers, mothers, or grandfathers and mothers who passed away in these nights, and try to send, for the marhumin, sadaqah, even a date would do so. اتقوا الله ولو بشق تمرة مضمون حتى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. That even fear Allah by even giving part of the dates.
Wow.
To this extent.
Wow.
So we try to give in this holy month for the cause of Allah and with the intention of our marhumin, inshallah, for their souls, inshallah.
Inshallah. Ahsan. Thank you very much, Sheikh. Thank you to all of you for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. If we didn't answer your question, we do apologize, and inshallah we'll roll them over to tomorrow's episode. I was answering a lot from yesterday today. Inshallah, I'll do with today's questions as well in tomorrow's episode. If you have any question that you'd like to send in, please send it in via the WhatsApp email address. Give us a call 0203515019 if you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube. Put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah the technical team will be able to send it on my lovely iPad over here. Join us tomorrow at 5:10 London time here on Imam Hussein TV3, Sky Channel 789 for another episode of Ahkam SOS. I've been your host, Muslim Shah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Get the queries off your chest with Ahkam SOS.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of
Is it
scholars at
permissible to
home.
plant trees by or
What
over
Islam
the graves?
establish based on peace
Is
and
it permissible
non-violence?
to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted
individuals?
to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there an
countries?
issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, call in on +44 2035 150199 or WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155. Alternatively, you can also email us on ahkamsos@imamhussein.tv.
With more and more victims of war and poverty, the Middle East has seen a surge in patients seeking medical aid. Iraq alone has 2.4 million people without access to any form of medical assistance. In Afghanistan, due to the lack of funding and devastating conflict, the health service is at breaking point. Imam Hussein Charity aims to help provide a better future for these impoverished patients, aiding them with finances for their prescriptions as well as dialysis of their kidneys. You can help our brothers and sisters with purchases of prescriptions for just £20, and for £200 help a patient with a dialysis procedure. To donate or for more information, visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
This holy month of Ramadan, we bring you the biggest talent show for the Shia community. A fantastic opportunity has been given to the contestants to introduce their voice to the world. The show aims to find the most talented vocalists, speakers, or reciters